What's up, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Football Boot Hour with me, James, the Boot Wizard, here on the Boot Wizard channel, and as always, joined by my co-host, Andrew from the Lockhart Boot blog. This week, we're going to be talking about limited editions, all things limited edition. We'll get into that, but as always, we've got important things to talk about first. And the first one is always, Andrew, what have you been wearing this week? Are we testing anything new or, what's going on?
So got one last go around in these. The Ultrezza
One last
3.
go in the Ultrezza.
Review hopefully should be up Sunday.
That upper looks to have softened in really nicely.
It softened up super quick, actually.
Yeah.
It's really nice. This is one I could potentially see them doing their synthetic material in.
Oh.
James, like, yes. But yeah, I think that'd be a good one for them. But I don't think they will because the Ultrezza is not as popular as the other two.
Okay.
But yeah, should be, just, I want one more session. I've had a few sessions in them. I just want one more to kind of just round it up.
Nice. This week, I have been wearing absolutely nothing. I haven't tested anything this week, mainly because you obviously know more about this than most people do. There's so much information I can give away, but anyway, I was in London this week for some meetings with some people, which was very fruitful, very productive. So hopefully we see the fruits of that in the channel on the channel in the future. And with that, I also got to I was in London on Oxford Street. Obviously, I went into every single big brand flagship store there and looked at a lot of boots and colorways that maybe I haven't seen yet or haven't had in hand yet, so we say.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, that moves us nicely into our ranking. And before we rank the big things this week, of course, we've got an F50 to talk about. We've got a Puma Carbon to talk about. But I have some points of business I would like to take care of before we get to the rankings. My first point of business is regarding these, because I have them in hand now.
Nice.
So this is the So Cal Superfly. Which I said I would have last week. The box and the string bag and everything are amazing, by the way. It's
That's
very
awesome.
cool, very, very cool pack. It all transfers through into the middle. Now, last week, we said that these were good and we would reassess once I had them in hand. I now have them in hand, and I motion that we move them to great, because they're bloody fantastic in hand.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
He's happy with that?
Yeah, they
we
look
have
great.
a win.
Yeah.
And I got a Nike boot in great. Look at that.
Yeah, right.
So these are the package as a whole, I think, makes a difference here.
Yeah.
And the more I look into these, like what each different kind of little piece of information is, the fact they seemingly have done the opposite of Puma and used some genuine artists from the area to help design it and things.
Yeah.
A lot of this is very, very cool. And I'm actually a big fan. So, we're going to bump those into great.
Sounds good.
However, with that said, I have a second motion I would like to table. We have previously, a couple of weeks ago, ranked the Nike Rising Gem pack. And I had those in hand this week. I'll try and put the pictures up of what I had with them in hand. And they are god-awful in hand. They are dull and boring and bland and bad. So my motion is that we take. So I'm happy to leave the Tiempo in bad, but I motion that we move the other two, the Vapor and the GX, from meh into bad.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
There we go. No, don't say we're not open to changing our minds. With that little bit of admin out of the way, shall we move to obviously the topic of the week, or the boot of the week? And on three, maybe? 1, 2, 3. Look at that. And we both got them already. Look at us
wild.
Go. That's crazy. The shiny new F50. We both obviously went for the laced variation.
Yes.
I did originally put an order in for the laceless and the laced from Unisport, but things happened, made me angry. So in the end, I just ended up getting the laced, and the only way I managed to get those was from LJ Collects. So if you don't follow LJ on Instagram, he is apparently, we know him. He's in our boot group. What a nice guy, and
He's
literally
awesome.
went out of his way to get me these. I got to meet up with him in London, which was incredible.
Awesome.
And I'm so it's great when we get to meet other people from the group from around the world. So I met him in London, and he literally snagged me a pair of these on launch day from the Adidas store. LJ, if you're watching this, thank you so much. So much appreciated. Thank you. But Andrew, what are your thoughts? First thoughts. Have you managed to wear them yet, or are you just in hand thoughts?
Just in the hand thoughts. Because I've been doing the Ultrezza review. These will be up next, obviously. They've done a really, really good job on these. This is you can tell it's a high quality product.
Yeah.
There's a lot of thought they went into these. So.
I agree. Similar to what I said about the Predator when that was released, I felt like the Predator felt like a high quality product. Everything that was on it, they'd made it well. The materials felt premium. And I feel the same way about this. And I love that that's just the case, that the materials and the way things feel, they feel premium. I think that's amazing. I'm the same as you. We've both tried them on, but I haven't been out and played in them yet. But on the whole, these are delicious. My assessment was that initial assessment was that they seem reasonably basic. There's not a huge amount there that's standout. But I said these are a boot that either the playtest will either make or break them, because that basic nature of them, with just a few little elements like maybe this what's it called, the fiber touch grip and things like that, that is either going to be amazing that it is so simple, I suppose, basic, or it's going to let the whole boot down. It's going to fall flat on its ass. But you're expecting similar?
Yeah, I'm expecting similar. For me personally, I think it'll probably make the boot.
I'm anticipating it going that way.
But we'll see once we get it on feet and run around in them.
More than
I was also...
Go on.
Oh, sorry. The sole. I also noticed the sole plate's just a bit stiffer than that prototype you had.
It is absolutely stiffer than the prototype, and the upper is softer too.
Nice.
So the upper on this is definitely softer than the prototype I have, and the outsole is definitely stiffer. They're the two main differences that I noticed. The heel padding is also different. I think the heel shape might be slightly different as well. But that prototype, it's funny that there were a few floating around, because it strikes me that it may have been early enough, considering the difference between that and this. There is, I will eventually do a video on that too, comparing the prototype to this. But yeah, this is far superior to that prototype. I'm much more impressed.
I wasn't very hyped up based on the prototype. I was like, okay, those will be an interesting review. And then once I actually got these in hand, I was like, oh, okay, they've done something here.
Yeah, this is obviously why Adidas don't want you to get hold of prototypes in advance and review them.
Weird that.
Because, funny that. Sorry, Adidas, I suppose. I apologize. I was still very positive about the prototype, but there was a lot of things where I said, oh, this seems like it might be good because it's in the right direction, and then there was little issues, but the little issues they've fixed. There's a reason that's a prototype. But yeah, no, I'm excited for those. I think they're going to be a very interesting review, and more so than almost any other boot that I've tried this year. I'm very much I can't give you an opinion on how good I think these are going to be until I've worn them.
You definitely have to get out and play in them.
Yeah, but visually, which is how we pretty much rank things, along with hype and limited edition status, etc. Where are we putting them? Are they great?
They're great.
They're great. Yeah.
They're great.
Colorway.
Good colorway. Yeah.
Messy chameleon purple for the launch. The box, it's odd. I like that the box is purple.
Yeah, I do too.
Like, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's like we've said in the past, great box a limited edition does not make, but
Absolutely.
it can help.
Absolutely. The F50s, the So Cals, the box helps.
Yeah.
Feels like extra thought and effort has gone in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so rank those into great.
Yes.
Okay, next up, obviously the other big release, I suppose, this week is the Puma Ultra 5 Carbon. So this is going to be there is going to be a carbon version and a non-carbon version of this boot. They're starting with the carbon version, which is based on the prototype we saw some time ago, which we did actually already rank. Those, which were supposed to be only 10 pairs and being released, all this stuff, are not being released. J Mike confirmed this on Instagram. I saw him comment that basically that wasn't going to go on sale. Good job there, Puma. And instead they've released this, which is essentially just the same boot, different colorway. It's got an F1 Patronus kind of style link, which I found very odd considering the boot does not have the Patronus colors.
Yeah, it doesn't have the colors. There's no
present.
Yeah, there's no there's nothing on the boot itself that says Patronus. It seems like
it's so weird, and I love that black-blue combination that they use. If they'd have put that on the boot in one way or the other, that would have been amazing. Instead, they decided to go with kind of like royal blue and white, which is fine. But I'm
good color
odd for odd for the F1 tie-in with that. I know it's to do with the carbon, but anywho, these look nuts.
Yeah, they
do. What are your thoughts?
4 years in prototyping, apparently. So, they look wild. Footloose Boots got a pair.
He did.
And, that was, based on, seeing him wear them and stuff. The sizing is very weird. But, the sole plate looks, it's stiff. Boy, howdy, is it stiff.
Yeah.
But
I have a pair on the way. I did order a pair, and
would.
Yeah, I would. And I ordered them true to size, basically. So I didn't go down the half size. I went with it was an error. Clearly it was an error. I went with the US 8. I should have gone with the US 7.5. I should know better by now to just go down half size in Puma boots because that's the safer option. So I'm anticipating getting these and them being too big. But it should still be interesting to see how narrow they are compared to how long they are, etc. So the chances are I will do a in-hand kind of unboxing style review without too much playtesting because I think they'll be the wrong size. But the carbon outsole will be super interesting to at least try on feet to see what they're like. Decent looking boot, crazy outsole, and I honestly can't wait to try that outsole a little bit. But for ranking terms, I think they're a tough one. What are you thinking?
Just for the pure, in your faceness of it, and how, we just said, F it, let's go nuts. I kind of want to put it in great.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. So when I did my Crazy Fast review, I kind of criticized Nike for being too safe with the Mercurial versus what Adidas had done with the Crazy Fast Plus. Interestingly, I feel a little bit like Adi may have gone a little bit on the safer route with this compared to the Crazy Fast and things like that. They're going for a more, general feel. And Puma have gone the opposite direction and gone absolutely F it. And I think that's wonderful. I love it when companies do that, particularly with speed boots. I love a speed boot that is just balls to the wall nuts. So I'm more than happy for that to go into great. So we will move on to what I think, and I know there's a beautiful F50 right here, but what I think is the best looking boot of this week. But I know that there's some negative vibes around this boot right now on this podcast.
Is there ever?
We've gone through two of the boots. I've let Andrew just bring this to the boil. It is the Wave Cup SS, which is bloody gorgeous.
It is.
Andrew,
ridiculously gorgeous.
We've had issues. Would you like to tell the people what the issues are? And again, I'm gonna sit back and let this dumpster fire happen.
Oh yeah. So got prepped yesterday. 8 tabs open because I was waiting to grab. I wanted to grab like at least 2 pairs for myself and like help like Noah wanted to grab one, so I was going to try and help him get one. 8 tabs open, ready to go. Signed in on all these different websites, and I hit refresh. Boom, they pop up. Click, click, click. Get them into my cart. Website's running slow. Okay, switch to another website. Click, click, click. Running slow. Okay, I'll switch to another website. Click, click, click. Running slow. And they were all so slow. By the time I went to check out, they were gone. So because I tried on one website and it slowed, that time that it took just to realize how slow it was going was enough for the pairs to disappear. So they only made 400 pairs for Japan, which is fine, but they just went super quick. So yesterday I was thinking, okay, maybe I should have started on a different website first. If I started on a different website, maybe I would have been able to grab a pair. But I'm now realizing there was probably no chance I was going to be able to get 3 pairs.
No.
So, never mind just the 2 I wanted for myself.
No.
And so, yeah, that's add that into the fact that I lost a lottery for a concert I really wanted to go to. I'm supposed to be in Tokyo right now.
Yeah,
having gone to a show last night and going to one tonight.
Reschedule of the podcast planned. We were going to record on a different day. I was going to get back from London, shoot straight onto the pod, because you were going to be in Tokyo for this amazing concert for one of your favorite bands. You didn't get that.
Nope.
And then you didn't get your Wave Cups, which not only are an incredible looking Wave Cup, but that's one of your favorite boots.
That's probably my favorite Mizuno boot of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's not been a good week.
No. So I've got a Hail Mary. The biggest retailer here, Soccer Shop Camo, has a sign-up sheet, and they're going to raffle away a few of them. Raffle the chance to buy.
Oh.
Okay, so I've signed up for that, and because I've bought a lot of stuff from them recently, like the F50, for example, is only available through them and Adi. I hopefully have done enough. I'm a premium member there, so I've hopefully done enough to be able to snag one, but we'll see. It's I really, really don't want to pay overseas pricing for a pair, but I guess I will if I have to.
If you're forced to, yeah. But at least then you'll at least be able to get one pair that way.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, it's not been a good week in terms of me getting stuff. So
that's a disaster. That is actually a disaster.
An disaster.
I'm sorry to hear that. Especially on something like that you really want. Like I was lucky. Like I say, I got the Unisport order that I put in got cancelled for my F50s, due to, let's call it a mistake on Unisport's end. And a couple of things happened. I was still lucky enough to get a pair. I will say, interesting information actually. So I was speaking to J Mike from Unisport because obviously this happened, and he was like, "Hey, let me find. I'll tell you what happened. You know what I mean? I'll tell you exactly what the situation was." And he was like, "Just so you know, and I'm completely cool with this. I wasn't trying to get any favors or ask for anything different, but I actually appreciate that this is the way that Unisport do their business." He was like, "Just so you know, when we take orders, we don't show any preference to anybody." He's like, "It doesn't matter who you are, all you have to be is like a Unisport member." is like, it doesn't matter what you've bought, who you are, whether you're an influencer or anything, we don't show preference. Now, there's another store that we all very well know that definitely does do that.
Does show preference, yep.
Yeah, and I actually like that Unisport don't. I realize it would be in my favor if they did, but I like that they don't. I think that's kind of
a better chance for everybody to get hold of something.
I think it's way more fair. And I do like the way they're doing things at the moment. Pro Director getting better, but anyway. There is another pack.
We said that just after I'm like, hopefully because I'm a premium member, I'll get these wave cups.
That's kind of why I thought about it, to be honest. Yeah. Gonna take the advantages where you can get them. There's another pack. It is not yet released, but it was indeed announced. And is official. It is the Nike Euro 2024 pack, the Mad Brilliance pack, the pink Mad Brilliance pack for the Euros, which I feel like in the images, I'm not overly like, oh, this is amazing, but I do love a pink boot. I really like pink boots, so like I'm kind of like, okay, I like that, but I don't think the images look amazing. I think as soon as you put them on feet in the Euros, they will look incredible. I think as Euros pack, they will look fantastic.
They look better, like in not the staged pictures, but like getting put on feet, or like I saw someone have them in hands, and
without
like
question.
The fade from the deeper pink to a lighter pink, almost to a white, looks way better.
Yeah. This is the reverse of the Rising Gem. The Rising Gem looked better in pictures and terrible in hand. These are going to look great in hand and on feet, I think.
Yeah.
For a tournament pack, the tournament's going to look amazing. You're going to have the that Mad Brilliance pack, and then you got the green New Balance pack. I think that's going to look fantastic.
Yeah.
I quite like it. I don't think it's good enough to be great, but I don't think it's bad enough to be meh. So I table good for the Mad Brilliance pack.
Let's put it in good.
Nice. Again, I'm pretty confident I will end up with getting a pair of those in hand, one way or another, so we can reassess once I have them in hand. But that is all the releases this week, which we honestly didn't think would take that long because there was only a few releases, but it took a while. We have fancy things in hand. It's going to happen, and you had to rant. So let's move on to our topic of the week, which is relevant considering this is a limited edition launch. Adidas, with their limited edition launches, general launches with Preds this year, has been insane. We're going to talk about limited editions. Are we getting too many? What makes a good limited edition? All things like that. So let us know your thoughts on limited editions down in the comments. And I suppose the place to start is, the main reason we're talking about this is the sheer number of limited edition releases that we are getting at the moment. And I suppose if you get this many limited edition releases, surely we're just devaluing the whole concept of a limited edition.
Yep. Absolutely. I'll put a disclaimer about myself. Personally, I love most of the limited editions that are getting put out. They're great.
Me too.
And that's awesome. But there's just so many of them. And I think it devalues what a limited edition is. There are people like ourselves who are very tempted to try and collect everything because we're like, it's hard to justify to miss out on stuff. That being said, the more limited edition stuff comes out this year in particular, the less likely I feel like, we absolutely, like, something comes out and we're like, we absolutely have to have that. It then becomes like, I'll probably skip this one. We'll see what comes next. So they're going to sell out. I've already
reached that point.
Yeah. They're going to sell out, but I'm willing to bet there's a lot of people who potentially would have been customers for some of this stuff who aren't anymore. Some of the consumers are like, no, I'm just not going to do it.
Like previously, I would have definitely been like, I'm the same as you. I love a limited edition. I really do. Particularly very limited editions.
Yeah.
I'm one of these people that is absolutely sold on the number of boots being available. Like you can easily sell me on that. And I think a really good example, and this isn't necessarily this company's fault, it's the market as a whole, that New Balance synced pack. What was there, 250 pairs of that?
Yeah.
In the past, I would have 100% bought that purely off the back of it being 250 pairs. That would have been enough to sell me because it's a great looking boot. I wanted that particular boot. That would have been enough for me to go out and buy that boot. But there's so many limited editions on the market now that I've become incredibly picky and incredibly choosy about which ones I go out and buy. And that meant that, for example, that sync pack there got left on the table for me. This one, I'll be honest, this one I picked up for the basically content purposes. I'm probably not going to keep this. It's definitely not getting worn anyway. I already own 3 pairs of Vapors and a pair of Superflies. That's enough of those. So but I think they're very nice, and I probably would have skipped these two, I'll be honest. I think that might have been another one because I'm already looking at the Vapor 16. I'm already looking at the launch blueprint pack colorway. That's definitely a limited edition because it's the Bill Bowman release, the prototype colorway. I'm already looking at that, going, if that is the first colorway of that boot, I want that. And I already knew when I got these, the chances of me keeping them would be slim, because I also knew this was coming, and it was a limited edition. So I'm being so choosy at the moment with what I'll go and pick up, and I think if that's happening to us, and we are like the avid collectors, we're the crazy people that try and buy as much as we can. How long before that starts a trickle down effect where more and more people skip to the point where the limited editions stop selling out?
I will say, like, the Murky Preds, there were significantly less people who were hyped up to try and grab those than previous ones, because, like, the TAA Preds just came out as well.
Do you think, obviously, that's a combination of, like, the number of releases, but also fatigue from purely just missing out on everything?
Yeah, I think it's both. Like, because a lot of people have missed out on a lot of the Preds that they've wanted, for example. And so when this came out, they're just like, the hell with it. I'll probably miss out on these either, so I won't even try. I bet a lot of people tried to get the Alexander Arnold Preds. I almost guarantee
they were really limited. They were 1,000 pairs.
So I imagine people were like, well, I didn't get that one. I'm not going to even bother trying for this one.
Yeah, and to the point where that one was, like I say, it was readily available. There was lots of them around. They didn't sell out immediately. Inside information: if you happen to be in London, the Adidas HQ, the Adidas flagship store, still has a full size run of Murky FC Preds, and a full size run of Whiteout FT Preds as well. They also had, as of 2 days ago, a few sizes in these and a full size range in the laceless. There you go. A little bit of you have to be in London, but there you go. But yeah, I think that, so I'm very, I suppose, either lucky or generally well prepared like yourself. I tend not to miss things that I want. I'm one way or another, I end up getting it, and I'll pay retail, and most of the time I get it on the day it's releasing, at the time it's released. I don't know whether that's luck or I just purely plan. And then I know there's a lot of people that definitely that does not happen to. Like, they're not up there at 8 a.m. with 4, 5, or in your case, 8 tabs open, all waiting to get this boot. I planned. So the night before these launched, I had a tab open for every major retailer, signed into my account with, in the search bar, the F50 in, so that I knew where to search. I had my email open, waiting for a Unisport link email. I was ready. All I had to do was go bang, 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 be ready to go. And I could have bought a few pairs, to be honest with you. But there's people that's not the case. They miss out and they miss out and they miss out. The Preds are the perfect example. They've missed out over and over and over again. And the TAA was probably the last straw because that was a limited edition that so many people wanted.
Yeah.
And then people went, screw it, I'm not doing this
Yeah.
again. Why bother?
Yeah.
So you're starting to... There is one train of thought and one argument where people might say, well, that's a good thing because it means that more people are then, more... If we're not getting them and we're not buying them,
and
somebody else is buying them because they're still selling out.
Yeah.
But my argument would be eventually they're not selling out because more and more people are just going to give up.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I think people are definitely getting fatigued. I think Adidas just might be able to get away with it this year. But if they do another year of this, we're gonna start seeing stuff just starting to sit.
They have slowed up slightly since the beginning of the year. We're not getting quite the same rate of releases. Obviously, they squeezed the TAA in there as like an extra one. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think on this pred, they will get away with it. The new pred, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be the greatest boot ever created by man. They will not get away with it.
Yeah.
People will not do this 2 years in a row. Trev Dunphy, for example, is a big pred head, and he has every single pair of Predators that's released so far, with the exception of the Trent Alexander-Arnold ones that he missed out on. And he won't do that again next year. I don't know this for a fact. He hasn't told me this. But, there's no way he's going to do that again next year if they release another 20 pairs of FT Preds. It's too much. It's absolutely too much. And like I say, I'm picking and choosing. Other people are picking and choosing. And I feel like I'm missing out on stuff that I would like to buy, but I have to choose so carefully now that I end up missing out on stuff. And I think, in fact, I know, if I think about this, it's affecting the number of boots I buy from companies. Because previously, I would buy multiple pairs of maybe the same boot. I'd have one main pair, and then I'd have maybe one other or two limited editions, something special that I thought I could pick up. I don't think I'll buy another pair of these. Like, this will be it. Like, unless they do something insane. They would have to do something mad for me to buy another pair of these to wear. Now, there's things that might come along that other people will go and buy, but me personally, I don't think I'll pick up another pair of these unless there's some, like, give me a Gambatrax plate, but that'll sell me. But this is my next. This is our next point, something to move on to, is that I think that in this world where we have too many limited editions, that the limited editions themselves have to be better in one or two ways. The first way is taking that Trent Alexander-Arnold example that we've given a few times there. They have to be that desirable because people have to want them so much. Because they have to be like the colorway, or it has to be a first colorway. First colorways are always popular. Or my personal preference, if I wish companies would do this, and I know they don't because it costs money, do something genuinely different with the boot. Give me this boot in messy spec. Like, that would be awesome. Like a Gambatrax plate. Now I know it looks like he's got a leather upper on his at the moment from the on feet pics, which obviously doesn't appeal to me. But in general, let's say if you did a fusion skin upper, so he's probably got say he's got fusion skin. You did a fusion skin upper with a Gambatrax plate and released it as a messy boot. That is a limited edition worth trying for me.
And kind of even with the Preds, like, this is, I brought these just because, I imagine we were going to talk about them.
You bring those every single week. They're always just there.
They are. I actually put them away, too, every time. But, like, this is a unique limited edition. It's the only one with fusion skin.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
That's a good limited edition.
Yeah.
So yeah, to make it unique, or in another case, let's not just be Adidas, but like with Nike when they did the Montebelluna tuna legend. I'm not gonna say tuna there. Anyways,
tuna. I'm leaving that in. I'm not cutting it out.
Yeah, I know you are. But like, this is made in Italy. This is player spec. This is a good limited edition. It's not just a colorway. They did something special with it. They made it very special. So,
and I think looking at that Nike release, a good example of what not to do is what Nike did with the Tiempo releases, the Emerald and the Pearl. The Emerald is a non-factor. It's a silly limited edition. You release two boots back to back for the same purpose in two different colorways, and the Emerald is just not popular. It's not as nice as the Pearl. It's not as limited as the Pearl. It's a pointless limited edition. They should have just done the Pearl. The Pearl is quite a nice limited edition colorway because they did the box, all that kind of stuff. And it has a purpose. It's an anniversary colorway. I do get that. The Predator, I think, is the biggest culprit for pointless limited editions. The teaser, that solar red one, that was limited edition.
There's no point.
What? Why?
Why?
Like, just make it the first colorway if that's what you want it to be.
You already had the 30th anniversary one.
Yeah.
Just do those. Say, here's the 30th anniversary. Boom. Here's the first colorway. Not, hey, on top of the 30th anniversary, let's do a teaser.
Yeah, and then...
And I will say, because it's my favorite thing to do, sorry, not to cut you off real quickly.
No, go for it.
Nike doing the two things in the Tiempo, you would have thought they'd learned their lesson last year when they did the 25th anniversary of the Vapor. They had that really nice one that came in the cool box and everything.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. And then they had a more widely available silver pink and silver lime.
Yeah. Which were rubbish.
Those sat... I think they're sold out now, but I think they ended up going for on sale, they were probably the equivalent of 100 euros here.
Yeah.
They sat and sat and sat. They sat so long, I was like, I guess I'll finally pick up a pair. And it was that point when they finally started going. But I could probably still find some pairs right now.
Yeah, they I know it's not obviously widely available, but if you go onto a resale site, like Vinted, for example, in the UK, there was a good few pairs of those on there, brand new, not used, going for very little money because it's not a desirable colorway. It doesn't have the impact that the other ones have, and it's not even because of the way they did the Vault and it's not even that nice. I don't think. So that didn't do fantastically, and then pointless. But they didn't learn their lesson at all. If you do want to, I'm going to cheap, shameless plug. If you do want to pick up the Emerald Tiempo, which is still available at the moment on Nike, they're doing 25% off. You can get that by clicking the link down in the top pinned comment or in the description. If you do that, it helps the channel, but doesn't affect how you buy anything, and we appreciate it very much. But back to the ranting, and God damn it, Nike. So... there's too many. So not only is there too many limited editions, there's too many bad limited editions or just pointless limited editions. And I do think that at the moment, because of the Predator, Adidas are the prime culprit for this. But Nike obviously still not particularly good. Puma just generally confusing. But I suppose the next point that comes up is what makes a good limited edition. What do you want if you can build the perfect limited edition, what is it? What are the different elements that we actually want there?
Yeah, so it's like I said, with the Preds and these Tiempos, they're vastly different from what's available. I mean, sure, these are the same shape and everything like that, but they're leather. And these are, it's a different kind of leather. It's made in Italy. Those are good limited editions, or a boot that does not normally. This is why I was so hyped for the Wave Cup SS, the Samurai Sole, because that's not an inline boot. Once in a blue moon, they'll come out with a colorway for that. That's a good limited edition. Bringing out a boot that is not inline. It's not part of the the normal stuff. Like that 94
Right.
Pred was a good limited edition because you can't just go out and get a 94 Pred.
Yeah.
So it has to be
So
very, very unique.
A remake, unique is the word. A remake is a good limited edition for sure. And I think that limited editions are better, in fact, significantly better, when they are individual boots, because you get packs of limited editions now as well. Like even these. So these are, I know it's only a mini pack. It's a GX and a Superfly. But even so, I think having 2 boots to create a mini limited edition pack, I think that devalues your limited edition as well. It's part of this concept. I think in this instance, it'd have been far better just having the one.
Yeah.
Just do the one and really go for it.
I mean, these, it's like we said, the first color of a new boot being limited edition is fine. And the other thing is, this doesn't tie into a pack.
Nope.
It's unique. There will be packs with this boot, but the colorway is unique to itself. Same with the 30th anniversary Preds. Those are unique unto themselves. They're not part of a pack. They keep them separate.
The Bootcast podcast made a good point this week, actually, which I think is very interesting, that obviously Adi have kind of been tying a lot of their packs and colors and various things into the Predator, because the Predator's like your main release, and the Predator's dominated everything and dictated the way everything goes. And now they have the F50 as well. They can't do it for both. They can't have so they can't have Heritage F50 and Heritage Predator colorways. Kind of, they could obviously, but the way that they work things, and you know what, I think that would be actually, I suppose Nike did it with the Future DNA pack, didn't they? It would be cooler to have this Heritage pack that had a Heritage Pred and a Heritage F50.
Yeah, that's an okay limited edition pack.
Yeah.
But when you're doing a pack and calling it limited edition, it's just different colorways. Unless it's a throwback or something, that normally doesn't work in my mind.
No, I agree. Again, I'm just looking at these So Cal ones here, and while I like these, I think they're a great looking boot. I think the whole presentation is fantastic. I really like what they've done. I think that they could have gone further, right? Yeah. So I think, and they may not think this has, Nike might not be thinking that this is worth it because it doesn't add value. I think this does add value. I think if you actually got the artists, the Southern California artists, and you named them, and you put them on the inside of the box or something, and you showcased those specific artists, I think that adds infinite value to the boot for me.
A lot of value. Yep, me too.
I think that's a huge thing, that you've taken it that step further. It's that extra bit of effort. And realistically, what would that have cost them to do? Nothing. You could have had an artist signature on the bottom from a local artist, things like that. I think that would have been excellent. And then the only other thing that I think, and I think this should apply to almost, and I realize this is maybe debatable for some people, almost all limited editions number the damn things. Tell me how many they are, because I want to know. And then don't just number the box. I want box and boots. Number the damn things. I think it's good for the boots, it's good for the limited editions, and it's also really good for preventing fakes and scalpers and things like that.
Yeah. That's what Mizuno had a Wagyu pack a couple of years ago. And that was really cool. They used Wagyu calf leather. So it was made in Japan. The leather was sourced from Japan. But they numbered them, but they only numbered them on a little tag that came with the shoe.
Yeah.
So it's not on the boot itself. It's not on the box even. It's just on a tag. So
Lotto are bad for that. Lotto do a lot of numbering on tags rather than on the boots. And I think for the 50th anniversary Lottos that they released, that was a big mistake. They really should have numbered those, because they even there's a tag in the boots that says these are intended for display purposes only. They know that they are pushing these boots to collectors, not to regular people. So I have regular people, as if we're some kind of like aliens. But yeah, I have the gold Stadios. Thank you, Lotta. And they just the tag, and then I have the Zero Gravity anniversaries, and again, just the tag.
Just the tag.
Just to say like they're limited edition. But yeah, if they're numbered, I think the number should go on the boots, and it's probably a little bit of extra cost. But how much does it really cost to add like instead of the Mercurial logo here, just like
laser etch it?
Yeah, number 1 out of 1,000 or whatever. I know Holt's Boots just got hold of a couple of pairs of the Mercurials. The ones, there's only 250 of them. The Women's World Cup is not 250, is it 234 maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
I can't remember. But yeah, he just got hold of a couple of pairs of those, which I'll deviate slightly here. I don't want to go too much into it because I don't know how much Holtz wants to reveal. But he managed to buy 2 pairs of those today. So this super limited edition crazy boot that nobody could get hold of, that went into raffles. People who won raffles didn't get sent the boots. We know people that happened to.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff with these Mercurials and Tiempos. He managed to walk into a shop and buy them.
That's wild.
That's wild. I'm so messed up. I know. It's, in case you need a reminding, Andrew gets up at an obscene hour of the morning in order to do this. So he has not yet seen our insane group chat, which is mainly currently filled with photoshopped images of our good friend Mark from GCFC training. We've been photoshopping him into random places around the world with his F50s. So you've got that to look forward to when you get to the group. Is there anything else that we feel like should go on a good limited edition? We've got numbers. We want it to be individual, ideally. We're okay with first releases, with the first colorway.
Yeah.
We're cool with that being a limited edition. A nice box goes a long way. However, as we've said many times, a good box or a limited edition colored box does not make a limited edition boot. I think string bag is definitely a necessity.
Yeah.
Good string bag in there.
Good string
The
bag.
Pred 94 didn't come with a string bag.
That's really silly.
Yeah. Mad, right?
I guess to be fair, they didn't expect anybody to wear them.
No, that's true, but like it's the Tiempo Pearls came with a velvet string bag. No one's going to be using that.
That's also Nike. Nike's always done that. The argument used to be because Adidas boots almost never used to come with string bags way back in the day. So the argument used to be, we'd rather use those $10 extra on the string bag to put into the boots themselves.
It's a solid argument if it was true.
It's a solid argument, but people still want the bloody string bag.
Yeah. I remember back in, I think I started Boot Wizard maybe 2019. And at that time, you still didn't get a string bag with a lot of top-end models. Yeah. Especially, and you still don't get one with like the 0.1, what is, you know what I mean? Like the second top end, the lower tier top end boot. They still generally don't put them in there. That might change. I assume that's changed with these. I assume the lace, because the laceless, this is kind of the top end boot, and that got a string bag. Now the laceless is £10 more expensive, and I'm assuming that also got a string bag. Adidas do a bad job of string bags, though. Even that one in there is just, it's not that. It's like, that, and I'm thinking here, things that, so this is going to be some really annoying rustling. There's there's a little kind of like.
Is that sunscreen?
There's nothing in it, but I'm assuming it's a sunscreen bottle that you can like fill with sunscreen, and then it comes on a little carabiner. So you have like a portable sunscreen you can take with you. It's so dumb, but it's kind of like a cool thing to include.
Yeah, I kind of like. Yeah, that's another thing. I feel like you include something silly.
Yeah, include
something
dumb.
Silly, ideally.
But yeah, I like that. But yeah, I suppose that probably concludes our thoughts on limited editions. That there's way too many of them. The market is absolutely saturated. Would you please bloody stop, especially if your name's Adidas? And generally, they have to be better. And especially if they don't get better, more and more people are going to be like us, so selective and stop picking up those limited editions. Preds, again, I was very lucky to get the Pred 30. I have not got a single limited edition since then because I haven't tried, because I'm just not going to bother. I picked up I got the teaser without the tongue to try those, sold those, bought the white without the fold over tongue. I'm good for Preds. I'm all good. Maybe I'm just trying to save more money because I have to be responsible because I have a child and things now. Just subconsciously.
We've talked about this in our group that we all need to have a giant fire sale. So many of us in our group have basically gone, so we need to have a massive sale of boots. So if you are watching and you are looking to buy some boots, please check our Instagram stories. And we usually share what each other have for sale as well. So check Andrew's story, check my story over the next few days. I'm sure there'll be a ton of stuff that will bump up for sale. I'll get the guys to put theirs up as well. And we'll go from there. So, with that done, shall we move on to our questions? Yep.
Let's do that.
Do you update the question sheet, or am I flying blind again?
You are flying blind, my friend.
I'm flying blind.
I have, for the second week in a row, not updated the question sheet. So there are some questions on the question sheet, which is where we will start. And then the rest of them, should we need them, are on my Instagram. So if you have questions, put them down in the comments there. We will obviously get to those. And obviously you can DM Andrew at Lockhart Bootblog, myself at BootWizard Boot Reviews, and all your questions go into the question sheet. We do answer every single one of them. It just sometimes takes us a week or so to get to them because we talk too much. Well, it's a podcast. How can we talk too much? It's a podcast. Okay. First question. I like this because it's something we haven't spoken about. That we're going to get to is, what's your current opinion about the Imotana, I assume that's how you pronounce it, boots and their business model in general? So these are the boots that launched as basically a Kickstarter where you could do, they were like, model your own feet. So you model your feet, they make you custom fitted football boots for you and send them out. Now, I don't think either of us got a pair, did we? No, but we know people who did.
Yeah.
And the feedback wasn't great. But what are your thoughts on kind of, I suppose, the business model? And we'll give some feedback on what we found out about the boots.
Yeah, so the business model itself is a good idea. I think this is kind of, if I was to say one thing we'll probably trend more towards in the future, it's getting custom fitted boots using, 3D scans and then getting boots custom built for you. I would not be surprised if in the next 10 years if we're going in that direction.
See, the thing, I did use their tech in terms of like scanning feet and things like that. And it's solid tech and it's easy to use. It's a good idea. It just feels like they couldn't translate that into a good product. Now, the problem is that the issue wasn't just that the boots were bad, for example, like the quality of materials or something. That wasn't the problem. The problem was that they had custom scans of your feet and the boots still fit poorly.
Yeah.
That seemed to be the bigger issue. Or it would have been for me anyway. But they seem to have massively changed their business model recently. They were advertising like a leather boot very recently, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
So I don't know whether they're going down the route of just producing a boot or if they're going to try the custom fit thing, but with leather.
So hopefully that would fix the fit issues.
Yeah, I feel like they had, and probably still do have, a really good idea with some great technology, but they just haven't utilized it properly yet. They need to make, you can't just have a custom fit boot. It's got to be good too.
Yeah, it's kind of like I'd hate to see them throw all the custom fit stuff out.
Yeah,
because it's a great idea.
Please don't do that. Like, keep going with the concept. You've just got to find maybe a better manufacturer, you know, better supplier. I'm not sure. Okay, let's. I just had a thought. Actually, we're talking about limited edition boots there. Player boots. Like I know we mentioned it with Messi, but signature boots. I think a good signature boot is nice, but with signatures, apply the Messi logic. They should. They should be closer to what the player wears.
Spec.
That player spec that would make them way more interesting. So I'm on to the questions here that are in my hand. And so boots for a ton, you can answer this one very quickly because we've just kind of covered it. So boots for a ton, really great selling page. Check him out. What does the future of football boots look like? Is it complete, customizable, tailored to you boots?
Yeah. I think if businesses are smart, this is what they should be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. How do we get Adlers in bigger sizes, Andrew?
I'm trying so hard.
Every week there's one person in here that goes, Andrew. So this was from PDL24 DCP. Would like to know, how do we get Adlers in bigger sizes?
I'm trying.
This one I find interesting. So this is Jacob C. Phillips, who has commented many times, and I appreciate it. He's obviously an avid follower of the podcast. I would like to know, why have grip socks not gained popularity in other sports?
Because they're just pushing them in football so hard.
Yeah,
I think everybody's so focused on the fact that football is the most popular sport in the world, and they're not branching out enough. Tabio does make grip socks for other sports.
Yeah, Tabio makes specific. I had two examples. One being Tabio. So Tabio's grip socks are now they're now even in Europe branded as football socks and for various other sports. And then GT grip socks actually are focused on basketball. That's like their main focus and area. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's mainly because football's where you're going to make the most money. How are you going to sell the most grip socks? How many people play football? More than any other sport around the world. So market them at football. And I personally prefer it when, like, this is just like a marketing thing, when the product is marketed to a specific sport. So I'm like, then it feels like you're focused on me and my needs, and you're not trying to make just a really generic product. Despite the fact that grip socks have wide-ranging applications, if you're going to focus on giving me a product for my sport, I'm probably going to be more kind of inclined. But you see a lot more companies now advertising, they're also good for a lot of sports. Viper 5 do that now. They're advertising for an awful lot of sports outside of football. But yeah, so the answer is money. Money. Every week, at least one answer is money. This is from here, also a regular commenter. Do you want to see more players getting endorsed by brands such as Asics and Mizuno? And I suppose the follow-up question would be, and why aren't they?
I would love to see that happen, but these companies, it's weird. They're big companies. Their focus isn't on that with football.
Yeah.
They're not going to spend the money.
It's too expensive.
Mizuno spent a lot of money for Sergio Ramos, and they're only going to be few and far between. Gone are kind of the days. Like, I think the last player to kind of be like this was Thiago Motta, who was never properly sponsored by Mizuno. They'd fly him out for stuff, and they'd fly him out to get his custom sizing and stuff like that. But there was never any money for it. He just wore the Morelia because he liked the Morelia. There's very, very few players like that. And even the players, like, there's a lot of players in the game who aren't sponsored, but, like, Mizuno especially are trying to move through word of mouth mostly than trying to actively, sponsor players. If I was them, I would just, like, Nike did this with the first Mastery. They went to every single Premier League ground and rolled up with just a truck of boots and said, who's not sponsored? Who wants a free pair of boots?
Who wants boots? Yeah.
Yeah. And it worked.
I think companies do that with grip socks. Like, there's a reason that, maybe not this player specifically now, but like Elise at Crystal Palace. earlier he was wearing M-Day grip socks. Now he's wearing Gain the Edge grip socks. Obviously, he's being paid to do so. But these are low tier grip socks, like, and clearly with tape design is probably the best example. These guys are clearly just sending boxes of this stuff to various grounds and just being go for it. And for a company like even like Mizuno, like how much does it really cost them to make a boot? And they can surely afford to get somebody a rep to go down to big clubs. Like go to Lazio, for God's sake. Like Lazio is sponsored by Mizuno anyway, with their kits. Like just go and be like, right, boots, who wants them? And I always think, I know the exposure is not as big, but with the women's game getting bigger, sure, and there must be less women's players that are sponsored. You know,
there's way less. There's so little amount in the women's game. That was one of the things they were talking about with the with the ACL issues and all the injury problems they're having in the women's game. So many women, they're not sponsored and they're being told what to wear. So if you're an Adi team, you're being told to wear Adi. If you're a Nike team, you're being told to wear Nike. So it ends up a lot of times they're getting boots that don't fit their feet, but they're wearing them because they're free.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's massive potential for a company. Like, I think Asics is a good idea. Like, if they want to explode into Europe, if I was Asics, I would go to every WSL team, or WSL?
Yeah, Women's Super League,
Yeah, and just roll up and say, hey, we've got these boots that got more support than your average boot. Which one do you want?
Can you imagine with the game growing and the number of, like, say, for example, younger girls particularly who have eyes on that game, and you find your favorite player, and favorite players come from your team generally.
Yeah.
Like, so their team might not be like Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, you know, the big three in the WSL.
Yeah.
Their favorite team could be, you know, one of the new promoted teams or something like this. And their favorite player all of a sudden starts wearing Asics boots or something. Like there's potentially a lot of Liverpool players actually, because they've only just come up the last couple of seasons,
Liverpool
and they
fans,
were amazing this season. They've got some really great players, some incredible young players, and there's obviously going to be a big fan base that's already there. Cash in on that. Like, I feel like, it's being drastically underutilized. I know obviously there's Adidas Sports who do a women's specific boot. But that doesn't, again, they don't have the budget, I wouldn't say, to be doing much. They're a very, very small company. And I think I've obviously not tried the boots, and I'm hoping that they're very good. They're women's specific, but they're also not the most visually appealing. Should we say that? Like, I think their design isn't great, and it's not really appealing to people to try them. They could probably do with making something that, you know, what do you want that up and coming to wear?
It's one of those, from what I've heard about their boots, it's one of those you have to get the boots on feet.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. Fowdies.com is a women's shirt specialist. They do all the WSL stuff. They're also selling the Adidas Sports boots at the moment. So if you are interested, check them out. You can check them out there. That's pretty good. Should we do one more? Because we have reached that lovely time where we were just over time, and we'll just do one more question anyway. Let's do Jacob C. Phillips' other question, because it seems relevant considering that we both bought these. Why does Adidas persist with laceless uppers? Neither pros nor consumers prefer them. So why do Adidas keep making laceless boots?
Proprietary technology. You have to have a USP, a unique selling point for your brand. And that's kind of... So inside a boot itself, like the F50, for example, there's lots of USPs, unique selling points. But they're really, you know, one of two companies, if you include Lotto, that does laceless boots. And that's still kind of like, I imagine the sales have kind of dropped off, but the sales are definitely, if they're still doing them, the sales are still there. And they want to show that they're different from the other brands.
Yeah, I think part of it is definitely that. It's like, this is our thing, so we're going to hold on to that. Like, yeah, Lotto do them, and historically they have a claim to that. New Balance have one laceless boot now. I think that will die eventually. But in laceless boots, if you say to someone laceless boots, their first thought is Adidas. So they're definitely holding on to that. And I actually spoke to one of the staff in the Adidas store while I was there, who's an incredibly knowledgeable guy about football boots, which you never find in a store. I had a lovely conversation with him, so thank you very much for that conversation. But he also said to me on this particular topic that the laced are definitely outselling the laceless on the F50. We knew that. However, he said that generally his experience is that people that are kind of around the age of 24, 25 and up are now going for the laced boots. Whereas anybody that is under that age, and particularly down into teens, are still going for the laceless model. They still want the laceless boot. And that's his experience working in the store in London, which I thought was an interesting thing to do. Yeah, I thought so as well. He did also tell me something that is potentially coming up with Adidas, which I haven't actually told you about yet, but I'm not going to say it.
Keep that to ourselves.
I'll keep that. I don't. One, because I like I say, I don't like leaking things on the podcast, and the other is I don't know if he was allowed to tell me. So
fair enough.
So we'll hold off, and I'll tell you when we get off the podcast, and everybody else, you can guess what that information is down below. And I will just tell you if you're wrong. But yeah. And I think that brings us to the end of the podcast. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Is there any more rants you want to go on, Andrew, or are you good for today?
I could rant for a while, but you asked what I'm wearing this week?
Oh, I didn't. It's a Live Breathe football shirt, isn't it? And is that a Bleacher Report football?
It is.
Yes.
This is the Black Lives Matter fundraising shirt that they did.
That's
back
actually
in
class.
2020. Yeah. So
that's really good.
We're going towards time. But
going
just
towards
real quickly,
time, we're already over. Just keep going. It's fine.
Yeah. So basically, I ordered this shirt. I was like, cool, that's for charity, for Black Lives Matter, blah, blah, blah. Very happy about it. Ordered it. Didn't show up. Sent them an email.
No.
And they're like, yeah, it's showing it's on its way. Here's the tracking number, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I didn't want to ask for a refund because it's going for charity.
Yeah,
so
charity.
I was just like, if it shows up, great. If it doesn't, it's for a good cause, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was tracking it, and for like almost 6 months, it sat in Reykjavik in Iceland, which is not a route that you normally take to order something from the U.S. to Japan. And then, I kind of almost completely forgotten about it. And then one day, like late in 2020, because this was like, it was 2021. Like just one day, it's like, oh, you got a package. And I'm like, I'm not expecting anything. And I opened it up. I was like, oh, hey. Finally showed up.
That's fantastic. I will show, actually, I forgot to show this earlier. So obviously I was in London. I got to go to Classic Football Shirts, which was very cool. I enjoyed that very much. And I enjoy a random football shirt. And I picked this up.
That's very nice.
Which is awesome and completely mad.
Oh, that's so good, though.
Yeah, so this is Serpong City FC, which is a third-tier Indonesian football club. God bless Classic Football Shirts.
Yeah, love it.
But yeah, this is mad. It's absolutely fantastic.
So good. That's so good.
But yeah, I did make it was the only one they had, and I bought it, and I thought it was my size, so it's a large. I thought it was my size, but the brand and obviously the style, it's very tight. So
That'll happen.
I'm just gonna have to shed a few pounds maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really great shirt, and you know what? It was £25. It was an absolute bargain.
That's awesome.
I love that. But yeah, that was my trip into Classic Football Shirts on when I was in London. But I think that brings us to the end of the podcast, and if it doesn't, it's bringing us to the end anyway. Because as always, we're over time. Woo! So thank you very much for watching. You can follow me at Boot Wizard Boot Reviews on Instagram. Of course, get subscribed to this channel right here, because as Andrew likes to say, if you're watching this and you've got to 1 hour and 10 minutes into this video and you're not subscribed, what are you doing?
You're very silly.
Yeah. And Andrew, where can the people find you?
Find me at Lockhart Boot Blog. Both my blog and Instagram, same name.
How convenient.
Yeah.
We will catch you all next week. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Oh, can't find the button.